Happy Wednesday, everybody. It is good to be with you again for this little 5-minute digital devotional. Glad you could take just 5 minutes out of your very busy days to stop and to consider this journey of Lent and what we are trying to accomplish together. Remember, the purpose of this is for you to consider your relationship with God, to consider what it is that you are doing on this journey, whether you have decided to give something up for Lent or add a new practice for Lent or simply be on the journey of Lent. To do so intentionally and to do so with effort is a really important thing. And so you should feel good about that and feel proud about that fact as we move toward Holy Week. We're already almost halfway through the season of Lent here. Next week we will be. So it's amazing how quickly it really goes and how easy it is to get distracted and therefore to miss it. So glad that you could do this on a Wednesday and just take a few minutes to re-engage with the journey of Lent and focus on that in this time. A couple weeks ago, we talked about Ash Wednesday and what that meant to have a broken and contrite heart, to be in the presence of God, to take on the imposition of the ashes upon your forehead. And last week, we talked about that idea of adding a new spiritual discipline of taking time to take deep breaths and be in the presence of God and be reminded of the goodness of God's presence in this world that is filled with so much hatred and division and anger and sin, etc., etc. And so to take just a moment and focus on the goodness. I want to switch gears a little bit because after last week's digital devotional, there was a horrific event, as you know, in New Zealand. I preached about that a little bit on Sunday. And so I want to encourage you this week to do something positive. To do something that brings light into the world. It's important for us to rock back and to consider God's presence in the world and the goodness of it, but it's also important for us to rock back and to consider our own presence in the world and how we contribute to that goodness and that light over and against the darkness that we see around us. And so for this week, as you consider this Lenten journey, as you try to refocus a little bit and do something, my suggestion is to find one thing to really do that is a positive thing that you wouldn't normally do. And I don't mean, say hello to somebody in the hallway or hold open a door for somebody. I mean something really tangible that you can point to that brings light into the world. It may be that you write a letter to somebody that has power about an issue that you are passionate about. It may be that you make a donation to a group that works with immigrants or with refugees or with the poor on our streets or with battered women or with, that you do something that is tangible, that is from you, and that would make a positive impact that you would not have done otherwise this week if you hadn't watched this video. So imagine, let's say, that everybody at Hitchcock Church watches this video and then chooses to do that one extra thing. That can have a really positive impact on the world around us. And then imagine that we turn that doing one extra thing into a habit, into a spiritual discipline. Each week after week after week, we choose one way to participate in the world in a positive way that goes beyond our normal day-to-day interactions where we treat other people the way they want to be treated and all of that, but where we actually make an effort to do something extra. We are called to be disciples in this world, to be the hands and feet of Jesus Christ. And so while it is important during this season of Lent for us to be reflective and for us to be introspective, it is also important for us to see the world around us, to see events like New Zealand and Pittsburgh and Charleston and different places where we have seen such heartache and such violence, and to turn that anguish that we feel into positive action. God calls us to be the light of the world, to be salt in this world, to be that thing which brings flavor and newness and excitement and new life. And so we find ways to do that time after time again, to be the hands and feet of God in the world. And so that is the message for this Wednesday, to do something, not just to be in the presence of God, but to do something in the presence of God. I can list all sorts of different options for that. And in fact, I will post on our Facebook page lots of different options for that along with this video. But you know what it is that you are passionate about. You know what it is that speaks to you. And so take a moment, take many moments if needed, to really consider what that one thing is that you would do extra this week to make a difference in the world and to help share the love of God with people who need it desperately. Thank you for continuing on the journey of Lent. We are heading toward Holy Week and Easter. We are on that journey knowing that Jesus is just up ahead, and we seek to follow all the days of our lives. May God be with you this week, and I will see you this weekend. Peace.